Morris Levinsky, okay. He certainly was an institution in this park. He probably spent more years here than anybody else. And I knew him, he was already like a middle-aged guy, a referee. We knew him as an official. He was a pretty good player in his time. He won the Masters doubles, okay? So he could play. He wrote many of the rules that are still in force today. He wrote, many of the handball. So he really was very much into handball. I mean, handball was his passion, like it is for most of us. For him to extend friendship to you, it means he saw something in you that you maybe had some talent as a player. Whatever he saw in you, if he spoke to you and gave you advice, that means he liked you. So it meant a lot. If you were a friend of Morris, it meant something in this park.
I'm telling you, handball, it's kept me out of a lot of trouble, man. So I'll handball, okay? And when I be out there refereeing games, that's my way of giving back. Because I don't have to be there. I'm there because I love the game. Okay? I like to see a game played fairly. Okay? I just wish that everybody could pull up their panties, man, or pull up their big boy drawers and be men about things, man. They want to get out there, man, and they want to cuss at one another and call one another all kinds of names and have attitudes. And
Bob Davidson was the coach of many great handball players. His interest was in kids. He loved the game of handball. He wasn't a very good player, but he was a player that saw what it took to be very good. And he started out with kids at Castle Hill. He also worked with them at Bronx Union YMCA and took them to tournaments. He helped raise money for them to go. His mantra was that you either played correctly and honestly. If you didn't do the right thing, he would ostracize you. He'd kick you out of the group for a while. It was like punishment. And you wanted to be in a group because you were friends and competitors. And he created a group that has been friendly for pretty much all our lives.
Just having a conversation about refereeing, and it's just a tough, thankless job. The majority of the refs don't get paid. Whenever we run anything, we pay the refs, but you always need more refs than you can pay. That's just the nature. And they really go through a lot. It's just a thankless job. I kind of like the refs are treated kind of like when junkies, when they just worry about their last hit, So all these players ever care about is like, what was the last call? They don't care that you made every single call correctly. They only want to get on you for the last call, even if you've made it correctly. If they feel like you made it incorrectly, they'll get on you. And then later on, a lot of times, they'll see it on video, and they see that you may have made the correct call, and they don't even say, you know what, hey, listen, I thought you missed that one, but you didn't. No, there's none of that. It's just, refereeing at this level is beyond a thankless job. No matter how much you get paid, you never get paid enough. Which is one of the reasons why I never charge. Realistically, they could never pay me enough. You really could not pay me enough to ref, so I'd rather do it for free. And those are my thoughts on reffing. A little harsh, but truthful.
Brooklyn was a little more aggressive type play. More of the players in the Bronx were, how would I say it without insulting somebody, but we were more honest than the Brooklyn guys. I played in a tournament once with Steve as my partner, Steve Sandler, and I called myself out on something, and he said to me, "Why'd you do that? Your opponents wouldn't do the same thing." And I said, that's the way I was taught. And that goes back to Davidson. If Davidson was there and saw me do that, he would call me aside later and ream me for not being honest.
There's a guy that when I was young, really young, before I was competing at all, that I used to see ref. His name was King. And I had no idea who he was. It wasn't until I spoke to some of the older veterans, Buddy, you know, maybe Joe Dorso or some of the players in that age group that said that he used to be a top player. But even when I was young, he was already not playing anymore. One thing I always admire about the way that he reffed is that he was firm and he was fair. And, you know, sometimes you might have to be firm and stick to your call and you may not be right. And I understand that. It's just something that comes along with the territory. No one is right all the time, but you have to be able to make the decision at that point in that instance to make your call and stand with it. Because if you change your call over, then you lose control of the game, and now you have people that's going to be trying to dictate the way that you ref the game. And this was something I saw in this guy King. You know, even though I was young, I didn't understand the game the way I do now. I saw that there'd be times where he may have made a call where he may have missed one. There's times like that. You're going to miss one. And, you know, sometimes you may have just missed one, you got to keep it going. There may be times that you miss one and you may realize it right away. And what I try to do is, if it's possible, I might put a player to the side on a timeout or a white and let them know, listen, man, I think I made a mistake there and I apologize for it. I try to take responsibility for whatever I may have done at that instance, at that point in the game, that I feel like may have done them wrong. And I think that's very important. You know, even though the player may not get that point back, at least I could take responsibility for what I may have done that was wrong. And this is something that I've seen this guy do from time to time. I mean, just like me or anybody else, he wasn't perfect. He didn't make you know, the right call every single time, but that's something that I definitely picked up from him. And all these years later, you know, I remember, and that's something I try to keep in mind when I'm reffing.
Reffing is a very difficult thing to do. You have a lot of immature players, you have a lot of dirty players, but then on the other hand, you have some players that are so easy to ref that in reality, all you do is call the score, because they actually ref themselves, because they conduct themselves in such a professional manner that there is no reffing needed, and all you're doing is keeping score. In essence, it's underappreciated. It's an underappreciated aspect of handball. A lot of people, a lot of players, and they know who they are, that would like a game to be officiated in a professional manner, are not willing to referee when it comes down to them refereeing. They are not willing to put in that work. But when they play, they want a game professionally reffed, but with a professional job. So again, refereeing is very, very difficult. Only a few of us that have hundreds and hundreds of games under our belt know how truly difficult it is, and we put in the work. But guess what? The game cannot go on, or the game cannot flourish or survive without referees.
Well, being a referee, it's a little hard sometimes, because you're still reffing your peers of the game, and everyone that you know, they're kind of all your friends and you know them. So sometimes it puts you in a tough position when you have to make a certain call. And then obviously you're dealing with the spectators and the people that are outside the game saying certain things. So you have to keep knowledge, self-aware of the game. You have to police the game, which is the #1 thing that you have to do, and be inside the confines of the rules of the game. And integrity of yourself. Integrity of yourself is the most important thing when you're reffing a game. And I think that is one of the most hardest things when you're reffing a game.
I'm not gonna say one of the few, but one of the people who know the rules that ref also. A lot of the players, even top players, don't know the rules. They have never actually read the rules. Now, the thing that I think makes me stand out, makes me special as a ref, is that I know the rules and I have experience under my belt, and I try to be as firm and fair as possible. That is what you really need to have the whole package as far as being a good ref. Because at the end of the day, if I know I'm doing all those things, there's no love lost. I don't lose any sleep. But you know, certain other people, they may have 1 or 2 of those qualities, and it doesn't make for a good ref. You might have somebody who has the experience but doesn't know exactly the rules, so they're trying to be as fair as possible, but under false rules. They're allowing you to play a certain way, which is not right. And that's something I'm trying to gain control of within the sport. You know, I'm in the middle of all these different organizations and everybody wants me to come and work with them, but I try to keep it held at a certain standard, the way that I will ref and the rules I will ref by. Certain people want me to ref their tournaments under rules that I don't support, and those are people who I don't ref for. You know, because if it's not pushing the sport forward, then I don't want to be a part of it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's like playing chess. It's like playing chess. I feel it's like there's 4 of us on the court playing doubles. And I feel I have to move their pieces so that my partner, who's also a piece, can get in front. So it's a chess game. I consider it a chess game, and I play the game. I play handball. I play doubles like it is a chess game. I have to move pieces around strategically. I have to move them around, not just physically bowling them over. I'm the smallest guy on the court. I've been the smallest guy on the court for the last 20 years. But strategically, I can move them and legally. So it's a chess game. It's a chess match, and I really enjoy it. It's a high-speed chess match.
It's kind of tough to say that you're a retired player at my age because of my injury. Do I want to play? Yes, I want to play, but I can't play because all that's going to happen is I'm going to just get worse. The transition from a player to a ref is very difficult because you don't want to tell yourself you cannot play anymore, you can't do this anymore, and this is your love and your passion, this is what you love doing. So now what I do is, now I'm reffing and I still get the benefits of reffing a game, and when it's a very, very good game, I have a first row seat all the time because I'm reffing that good game.
I think that I'll always be a fan of any game that I'm watching. The thing that's important for me is to remember that I'm the official. I'm reffing and I need to remain neutral. Sometimes it's much easier than others. I would never give a compliment to one player that I wouldn't give to another player. A good shot is a good shot. And if it's anything positive, I try to express it as much as possible. Anything negative I would keep to myself unless it has an impact on the game. If someone is doing something that they shouldn't be doing, that's the only time I would say, call them on whatever they're doing that may have a negative impact on the game. Otherwise, yeah, sure, I'm a fan, absolutely. When I ref a lot of top games, I admire what I see the players bringing to the table, and I'm a fan, but at the same time I'm reffing, so I have to remember that I'm the referee and I have to keep a certain mind state as far as the game is going.
No, it's very rewarding. You have some people that look up to you and they admire your game, and in reality, your job is to perform on the courts and to entertain. And what I mean by entertaining is you play the game, people are entertained. You don't have to look for it. You don't have to cater to them. You just play your own game and they feel entertained. They appreciate the work you've put in. It is performance. It's just not competition. It is performance. Your job is to compete. And by default, by competing at a high level and by putting your heart and soul into it, you are entertaining. So absolutely, you are playing and entertaining, performing. Your athleticism, that's why we watch sports on TV, because it is entertaining. It's not like we don't have anything else to watch. We can watch movies as well, but we choose to watch sports.
As a ref, depending on what court you're on, you're gonna get that all the time. Guys are walking by, people are walking by, drinks, cursing out. I got guys behind the fence. It's gonna happen. You have to be very, very, very patient when it comes to those kind of things. Again, depending on what court you're on. If you're on a primetime court, everyone wants to get across to that court. Obviously, I don't want to say it like this way, but they're drinking alcohol, they're doing this, they're doing that. And that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, you go to a baseball game, the fan's not walking across home plate. So I think that we should have that in handball also. where the spectators or the fans don't just walk across the players.
Try to do. You know, I know there's a lot of people out there watching me when I'm refereeing games, and I feel like whether I'm right or wrong or whatever it may be, I set an example for whoever else might want to be a ref. And I realized that across the handball community, not necessarily from me refereeing, but the way that I do things in tournaments, that, you know, certain positive things to the way that I run tournaments or I do in tournaments are being picked up, you know, in other organizations, and it's helping the sport. At the end of the day, once I'm going, that makes me feel good. You know, I left a mark on the sport. You know, somewhere along the line we lost control, but because of me and people like me, you know, we're starting to gain control over it again, and that's a good feeling for me. So if I could do that, and he set an example for me, hopefully I'm setting an example for, you know, the next generation of whoever there is out there that wants to be a great player or a great ref.
In any sport you play, you have to have sportsmanship. Because if you don't, then you're just being a character. Okay, and the world has enough characters. Okay, you know, it's nice when you see people get out there and go to war, and whoever wins the battle walks up to the loser and says, "Hey man, nice game." Okay, that's a beautiful thing, man. You know, it's beautiful because you're sharing something. Okay, you're sharing something. Even though you may have lost, the person that beat you, now he has respect for you, man, because he sees that you will fight. Hey, man, you know, you get out there, whether you win or you lose, man, you know, be gracious about it.
When you talk about high octane game, you're talking about Little Rook, Davo, Timbo. I don't know who you could throw in the mix. Just watching a game like that, high octane, everything fast paced, no instant replays, no nothing. Arguing, fighting, diving. Those are the games that we look for. These are the games that we always want to see, because these are the fastest guys on the sport. They're the best of the game, and they're really throwing out their heart and everything on the court. Bleeding, elbow, knees, they're doing everything.
That is such a difficult question to answer. I'm going to try to stay to the positive part of my answer to that question. One thing I can say about handball is that I have definitely invested a lot of my life in becoming a top player. In handball, they measure the players by B players and A players. I became an A player. A lot of the time that it was invested in becoming an A player was time that was very, I don't know how to say this, I don't want to put anything negative on the sport. Just to touch back on the city and other organizations that could have been involved. If I had, I don't know, I want to, what is it giving back to me? It's always giving me a positive place to go to do something that I love. And I'm going to leave it at that.
you.